this? I want you to know one thing. I can't feel any of this. You've seen it with your own eyes. You can't hurt me. Nothing can. This fight is pointless. Your struggle is pointless. It didn't have to be this way. Pathetic! You can't win! I feel nothing! But you feel everything, yet you keep trying. I'm not my brother, and if you'd given me what I wanted, it wouldn't have ended this way. But no!
For obvious reasons, Baldur isn't going to be around in God of War Ragnarok. After many trials and tribulations, Kratos and Atreus finally managed to kill him at the end of God of War 2018. But he is obviously going to continue to have a big role to play in the sequel story, even if it's an indirect one, because it's his death that has kicked off Fimbulwinter, and, in turn, Ragnarok. Ahead of the looming launch then, here we're going to take a look at Baldur's story and how it leads into upcoming events. The son of Odin and Freya, and the half-brother of the likes of Thor and Tyr, when Baldur was born, it was predicted that he would die a needless death, and that, understandably enough, was something that didn't sit right with Freya. Desperate to protect her son from harm, she cast a powerful magic spell on him that made him invulnerable to all threats, physical or magical, unbeknownst to all but her and Mimir, who she placed a curse on so he wouldn't be able to divulge the knowledge either. The spell's only weakness was mistletoe, beyond which nothing in all the 9 realms could cause any harm to Baldur whatsoever. So powerful was Freya's spell that Baldur not only became invulnerable to all harm, he also became impervious to any and all physical sensations whatsoever. In Baldur's eyes, it was very much a curse in disguise. He begged his mother to take the spell off, but Freya, afraid of what that might mean for her son's future and fearing his death, refused to do so, telling him that one day he would thank her for what she'd done. His reaction, however, was quite the opposite. Baldur grew increasingly resentful of Freya, and that resentment quickly gave way to anger and hatred, to the extent that, at one point, he even attempted to kill her. Though he couldn't go through with it, he decided to cut all ties with her. And for the next century or so, Baldur entered into the service of his father, Odin, who, being the master manipulator and liar that he is, told his son that he would help him find a way to break the spell on him in exchange for his loyalty. Unsurprisingly, that never happened, but Odin always kept dangling the possibility in front of Baldur, who, in his desperation to be free of his invulnerability, saw no choice but to keep serving him. His condition also led him to the edge of sanity, and over time, Baldur became something of an unhinged personality, which is putting it mildly. Jump forward by over 100 years and we arrive at the events of God of War 2018. Baldur is ordered by Odin to search for the last Jotnar guardian in Midgard, which brings him to Kratos and Atreus' house shortly after the death of Faye. Of course, no one in Asgard, Baldur included, knows that Faye is the Jotnar guardian. He only knows where he'll find his target, and when he arrives, he mistakenly believes that Kratos is the one he's been sent to hunt down. Predictably enough, the two of them clash in an epic duel, which ends with Kratos snapping Baldur's neck and throwing him down a gorge. At the time, Kratos doesn't know who Baldur is either, nor does he know that he cannot die, or even be hurt. Kratos and Atreus leave their home soon afterward, as they set out to scatter Faye's ashes on the tallest peak in all the realms, while Baldur, now with backup from Asgard in the form of his nephews Magni and Modi, the sons of Thor, resumes his search of the father and son pair. His first stop in that quest is Mimir, who's still trapped inside a tree on Midgard's tallest peak, who Baldur is hoping will be able to tell them Kratos' whereabouts, but of course there's no love lost between Mimir and the Aesir, and he outright refuses to help them. even when Baldur tells him that he would try and convince Odin to grant him his freedom in exchange, which Mimir knows is a blatant lie. When next Baldur crosses paths with Kratos and Atreus, it's much later in the game. The two of them are back in Midgard's tallest peak, and just as they are about to go through a gateway that'll lead them to Jotunheim, they're ambushed by him. A rash and increasingly erratic Atreus loses his patience when Baldur successfully goads him into attacking him, and in the chaos that ensues, the boy gets knocked out. Baldur grabs him and gets on the dragon's back, flying straight to Tyr's temple in the Lake of Nine, where he intends to bring down the might of Asgard on a pursuing Kratos. Kratos, however, arrives in just a nick of time and manages to change the temple's direction, following which the three of them crash into Helheim. In the frozen realm of the dead, Kratos and Atreus learn about Baldur's past and about his hatred for his mother, and though they manage to avoid confrontation with him by staying hidden, it's not too long before Baldur manages to track them down again. The father and son duo arrive back in Midgard, and their journey takes them into the belly of the world serpent, where they're hoping to find a Bifrost crystal to fit into Mimir's eyes, which will in turn allow them to travel to Jotunheim, now that the gateway atop the peak is broken. While they're still inside the serpent's belly, though, it gets attacked by Baldur. Kratos, Atreus, and Mimir quickly find their way back outside, but soon afterward they're attacked by Baldur once again, leading to their final climactic duel. This time, however, Freya joins the fight as well. Desperate to stop Kratos and Atreus from hurting her son, she reanimates the corpse of the giant Thamur, and what follows is a battle of epic proportions involving Kratos, Atreus, Baldur, and the dead giant controlled by Freya. In the middle of the fight, however, the spell on Baldur is finally broken, much earlier in the game. Atreus breaks the strap of his quiver, which Kratos fixes with an arrowhead made of mistletoe, and one of Baldur's punches ends up landing exactly on that arrowhead. With Baldur no longer invincible, the fight ramps up to a dramatic conclusion, which sees Atreus calling on the World Serpent's aid to take the reanimated giant out of the equation once again, with Kratos on the verge of killing Baldur once and for all. Baldur himself is desperate to die, having been driven mad by prolonged years of invincibility, but at Atreus and Freya's behest, Kratos decides to spare him. This doesn't sit too well with Baldur, though, enraged at his mother constantly interfering with his life, and once again, having prevented him from getting what he wishes for, he wraps his hands around her throat, deciding to kill her, and then Freya, meanwhile, is all too willing to let that happen, hoping that at least will let her son find some peace of mind at long last, but it's not something that Kratos is going to allow to happen, not only because Freya has very much become an ally to him and Atreus by this point, but also because he's desperately trying, at long last, to set a better example for his son. And so, he grabs Baldur and snaps his neck again, this time finally killing him, once and for all. That provokes Freya's fury, who cradles her son's corpse in her hands and pledges, while she's leaving, that she will return, hunt Kratos down, and kill him for what he's done. At the very end, as Kratos and Atreus return from Jotunheim, they learn that Baldur's death has kicked off Fimbulwinter, which wasn't actually supposed to happen for at least another 100 years. That, of course, means that Ragnarok is approaching as well, and with it, the purported end of all the 9 realms. On top of that, Kratos and Atreus have also incurred the wrath of the Asgard, with the likes of Odin and Thor now all on their trail as well. The two of them are clearly going to have plenty to deal with in the upcoming sequel. The threat of Ragnarok, the freezing cold of Fimbulwinter, the fury of Freya, and the wrath of Asgard, all of which is happening directly because of Kratos killing Baldur. Whether or not Baldur himself will show up in the game, perhaps in a flashback or in some other fashion, remains to be seen. But it's clear that his death is going to continue to have a massive hand in shaping the series' larger story. Thankfully, we don't have to wait too long to find out exactly how that happens. That's all for now. If you enjoy what you saw, please hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, now is a great time to subscribe. We upload brand new videos every single day. After subscribing, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time, right here on GamingBolt.